Hey y'all, welcome back to Realistically Random. So, if you haven't heard by now, I think you need to look into it. 13-year-old Naziah Harris went missing, allegedly went missing a year ago. Her body still has not been found. And who has something to do with that? And who was arrested for that? Her aunt's boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, someone that she has been around since she was a kid. And she's 13. This is somebody that she's been around since she was so young.
Record.
Shannon Harris,
And Ms. Harris, how old are you?
31.
And back on in January 2024, where did you live?
With my mom. Resides with my mother,
With your mother? Okay, who's your mom?
Annette Harris,
And without telling me the exact address, what street did you live on?
Bedford.
And do you have any children?
Yes,
How many kids do you have?
5.
And do all your kids have the same dad?
Yes,
Who's their dad?
Jarvis Butts.
Do you know someone named Naziah Harris?
Yes.
What's your relationship to her?
My relationship to her, she is my niece. I'm her aunt.
Okay, and whose daughter is she?
My older sister is Kenyatta Harris.
And did Naziah ever know Jarvis through you?
Yes.
Okay. And when did Naziah and Jarvis first meet?
When she was little, like age 2.
And can you kind of describe the relationship between Naziah and Jarvis?
Should be just the uncle and the niece relationship, no more than that.
How often would Jarvis be around, like at your house with you?
He will call or say, can he come see the kids, or the kids will ask, can he see their dad? And he will come, pull up either to my house where I used to live or at my mother's house.
Would Naziah ever be around?
All the kids would be around.
To your knowledge, would Naziah ever text Jarvis?
From my knowledge, no, unless I will have her to text.
But to your knowledge, you didn't know of any kind of separate outside relationship?
No.
Would you ever know Naziah to help Jarvis Butts at his shop?
Yes, he will call me and say, hey, if I can get our daughter and Naziah to come and work up at the shop. And I would say, let me ask my mom first regarding Naziah.
Would you ever know Naziah to go to Jarvis's shop alone?
No.
Were there ever times that you would text Jarvis off of a text now number?
The only time I would text Jarvis off a text now number is if my phone is off. Other than that, no.
Do you recall those messages? Did you send any of those messages to Jarvis Butts?
No.
Okay. And do you know, I believe there's a phone number here that's highlighted. Whose phone number do you know that to be?
Jarvis Butts.
Okay, and you don't recall ever sending any of those messages?
No.
Okay. And now I want to direct you to messages from June 28th of 2023. How about any of these? Did you send any of these to Jarvis Butts?
No.
What about any messages from July 2nd of 2023? Did you send any of those messages?
No.
Jarvis Butts ever tell you that Neziah texted him to meet up on January 9th of 2024?
No.
Did you tell Jarvis Butts about not being able to locate Neziah on January 9th of 2024?
Yes.
Okay. And tell me, how did you tell him that?
I called him. He didn't answer. I sent him a message asking him, have he seen Tuda, any whereabouts? And I said no Tuda, and he responded back, oh wow.
I didn't hear what you said, the last part.
Last part, I had, I texted him. Well, at first I called him. He didn't answer. The second time, I sent him a message. Still no Tuda. He replied back, oh, wow.
Okay, thank you.
Just a little bit. On December 3rd, 2023, do you recall sending messages asking Mr. Butts if he needed Neziah for anything?
Yes, I do remember.
Okay. So do you remember this text on the first page of People's Exhibit 48?
Yes, I do remember this message.
Okay. And did you send that message?
Yes.
Okay. And what did the message say?
Tuda said, do you still need her too?
Okay. And do you know what is that referring to?
It was, Tuda had asked me to contact Jarvis and see if he still needed them to clean up.
Okay. And that would be to clean up his shop?
Yes.
Okay. And to fast forward, on January 21st of 2024, you sent some messages to Mr. Butts. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay. And can you read these last 3 messages?
These last 3 messages is, to be honest, these messages I seen into the inbox to you, I really don't know what to believe anymore. Stay away, Ramon, I mean it. The next message is, I don't know what to say, or Tuda is on. Since this shit doesn't sit right with me, call it what you want, I'm good, period. It says, this for life. Nigga, I thought about it, and you can pass it.
And
And don't call me, no need to explain shit. I already see it.
okay. So you were referencing some messages that you saw in Tuda's inbox.
Correct.
Tell me, how did you see some messages? Well, first of all, where were these messages, where were they at?
The day of, Officer Gardner came to pick up Neziah's tablet. My mom asked me to put it on the charger. I put it on the charger. Officer Gardner, after that, Officer Gardner called and said she's on her way.
This is hearsay.
Without saying what?
Okay, I'm sorry. The officer had called and said that they was on their way to come
Still
pick up
hearsay?
the tablet.
Okay.
Okay, so,
Sustained as far as hearsay.
yes, thank you, Judge. Okay, continue.
So the tablet, before the tablet was picked up, I looked inside Tuda's tablet. She has 2 passwords that I normally know. So one of them is referenced for her brother's birthday, and the other one is referenced from my password. So I put the first password in, it didn't work. So I put the second password in. So the first thing I went to was Instagram, which I was scrolling. And I seen Jarvis Butts' Instagram page. I clicked on his page, and I seen 2 messages.
Okay, and what were the messages that you saw? Well, who were they between, first of all?
Neziah, my niece, and Jarvis.
Okay, and what were the messages that you seen?
It was roughly 2 messages that I have seen that I can recall. States.
I'm going to object to this as hearsay. They have not been admitted, and the messages themselves would be the evidence.
Were they of any Were the messages of a sexual nature?
No.
Okay. And you said you saw 2 messages.
Yes.
Okay. Did you see anything else?
It was two sent pictures, but you can't really make anything out. It wasn't nothing there, but you know, it was a picture was sent.
Okay. What did seeing those messages, what did they cause you to do?
Well, when I seen no messages, I called him
Who's
and
it?
Jarvis Butts.
Okay.
Called him while he was at work, asked him, what is these messages I seen between you and my niece? And he said, what messages? Said it's 2 particular messages that states out and it's a picture. And he stated that, I don't know, these messages, I told him what the messages were, and he said it was probably our children was messaging him. And I stated no, because I know how our children will text.
And reading those messages, is that what caused you to text
Mr. Butts, yes.
Mr. Butts, in that you've seen the messages in the inbox and you don't? So, Sharon, I want to take you back to January 9th. Were you home that day?
Yes.
Okay. And did you see Neziah that day?
My senior did that morning, correct.
Okay. And do you remember what she was wearing at all?
Her coat and her uniform at the time, she had on some blue jeans. I don't really recall the outfit. I just know the coat she had on.
And what was the coat that she had on?
She had on, it was a 90s coat with all the characters on it.
Okay. And you recall seeing her wearing that the morning of January 9th?
Correct.
And Your Honor, may I approach people's already exhibit 2?
Yes.
I'm going to show you people's exhibit 2. Can you tell me, do you recognize a coat in this photo?
Yes.
And whose coat do you recognize that to be?
Nazia's?
Okay.
No.
Okay. And did you do any sort of looking for Neziah that night?
Yes.
What did you do?
I called my twin sister. I called some of her friends that I know that stays close by. If they had seen Neziah, heard from Neziah and everything. And when I reached out to my sister, she said no. Her friends said no. So after that, I asked my mom, did she want me to call police? She said no, she will take it up in the morning.
Neziah to have a pair of red and black Nike shoes?
Yes.
Okay. Back on the 9th, you said your mom was going to file a police report in the morning.
Correct.
Okay. Did you go with her to file a police report in the morning?
No, it was my older sister.
Okay. Did you do anything on the 10th as it relates to trying to find Neziah?
Yes. We went out, I and some others went out to go get some pictures, made copies. We went to other stores, passed out flyers, and everything that we need to do. Now, what was asked of us to do.
Okay. And since January 9th, 2024, have you seen Neziah?
No.
Since January 9th, 2024, have you heard from Neziah?
No.
You and Mr. Butts have been, or you've known him for about 12 years?
Correct.
And fair to say that you were in a dating relationship with him for most of that time?
Correct.
But towards the end, like last year, it was more off and on, fair to say?
No, it was on and off for years.
For years, okay. But you have 5 children with him?
Correct.
And this relationship that you had with him, even towards the end when it was on, it was a sexual relationship, right?
Correct.
Sometimes you go to a motel to have sex with him?
Correct. Yes.
And that motel was the Park Inn?
Or the SharePoint.
There was more than one?
Multiples, yes.
Okay. But one of them was the Park Rest? Said yes?
Correct.
And it said in Harper Woods?
Correct.
On Harper?
Correct.
Okay. I realized that Neziah did not come home when she was expected to be home.
Well, I didn't realize it until I had got a question. by the other kids had asked did I have Naziah came home yet or have I seen her, and I said no.
Do you remember what time that was in the afternoon?
That was in the evening. My mom picked them up 6 o'clock.
So that was about 3 hours later than she normally should have been home?
Correct.
Was that surprising?
Yes, it was. One, we thought that she was at the after school program, but it didn't dawn on no one until my mom came back to the house and she wasn't here or she wasn't in the car when they had got in the car.
And so when you all realized that she wasn't at school and she wasn't at home, was that surprising?
Yes.
But you didn't go to the police that night?
No.
She ever not returned home previously?
No, this is her first time ever doing this.
Did she have friends in the neighborhood that she would go visit?
Yes.
And you said, I think, are those the folks that you contacted to ask?
Yes.
Would Naziah ever have access to your phone to use it?
Yes, like she would ask, hey, TT, can I see your phone? Sure, I wouldn't mind, yes.
And so would she text from that phone?
Probably, yes.
Did you ever notice any text from
No,
her on your phone?
no,
Or to the Bedford Street address?
correct.
Okay. But most times he wouldn't even come to the house, right?
He will come to the house, he will call me first before he will come.
Would he come into the house physically, or would he sit in his truck outside?
50%. He will sit in the car and wait till the kids come outside, or he will knock on the door.
Okay. Would he be in the house for any length of time?
Only if I'm inside the house,
Like if he was visiting with you?
yes.
Okay.
He will, what you said,
Would Mr. Butts ever be at the house if you or your mother weren't there?
no, it will be me or another person.
The idea that anything was going on between Mr. Butts and Naziah is shocking to you, right?
Correct.
You had no idea.
No,
You never noticed anything between Naziah and Mr. Butts that made you concerned?
no,
You never saw any inappropriate behavior?
not at all.
You didn't notice Mr. Butts paying any special attention to her?
No.
Certainly if you had noticed that, that would have caused you concern.
Yeah, it would have raised a whole bunch of red flags.
Likely you wouldn't have invited him into the house, correct?
Correct.
You found it hard to believe even that Mr. Butts would hurt Naziah.
But I won't know, I don't know, what he will do if a person's back is up against the wall.
But the thought of that was hard for you, at least at one point, to
Yeah.
believe, correct?
Correct. He asked me, she said, hey, TT, she said, where is Balford and Honor Drive? And I told her, I said, you know exactly where Balford and Honor Drive at. I said, Honor Drive is right where the wine basket at. And I said, you know where Balford at. And she was like, I get Balfour and Bedford mixed up. So I said, you already know Balford is before Bedford. So she said, okay. She said, because we are in school and we are learning about our surroundings. So I said, okay. But that was the only two things that she had asked, was where was Outer Drive and Balfour at.
Does that location have any special significance to you?
No.
Do you know anybody at that location?
No, the only thing that I'm used to, I'm familiarized with just picking up Jarvis on Outer Drive and Balfour. It's just on a corner.
On a corner?
Mm-hmm.
Not at an address?
Not on the dress.
Okay. When was this conversation that you had about that location? Do you recall?
This was right before Naziah went missing.
Like how soon before? Weeks?
Maybe it was still like in that same week she went missing.
It was out of the ordinary about how she was acting at any point in time in December or January before she disappeared?
No, Naziah, nothing have changed her character, none of that. She was just The same on Isaiah. Nothing is different.
Isaiah has a brother, right?
Yes,
Is it an older brother?
yes,
No, he had run away in 2023, is that right?
yes.
Objection relevance.
How was it relevant?
If it's something that had bothered her or something that she was dealing with at the time, could cause a change in her demeanor.
Okay. Overruled.
So she did have a brother that ran away,
Correct.
and was that something that she struggled with?
She didn't like the fact that her brother was running away. Yes, she didn't like it.
Around the same time, around the time December, January, was her mother supposed to come visit, her biological mother?
Yes.
Did she end up coming to see Naziah?
Yes.
She did. Did Naziah seem to have some big emotions about that contact?
Yes.
It was complicated, fair to say?
Yes.
Did she talk to you about that?
All the time.
So he had a preliminary hearing. There was a preliminary hearing to see if there was enough evidence to go to trial. A judge said there is. So there's going to be a trial. This case is so heartbreaking. So heartbreaking. Her father had died last year. Her mother was alleged to be on drugs, but, cared about her. And
Is her birth mother still around?
She is.
Okay, does she have a relationship with her?
No.
She doesn't have any type of relationship, no contact with her that you know of?
Well, let me say this. I don't deal with my daughter, so she really didn't have no contact with Naziah like that. She only came around now and then.
her and things of that nature. She lived with a grandmother.
And then Harris.
And Ms. Harris, do you know someone, or did you know someone by the name of Naziah Harris?
Yes.
And who is Naziah to you?
My granddaughter.
Are you her legal guardian?
Yes, I am.
When did you become her legal guardian?
I adopted Naziah back in 2016.
And when you were there in January of 24, how old was Naziah at that time?
January 24th, she had 13. She had a birthday in September. Okay, 6 a.m. That's when I get the children up. They usually get up, get dressed, prepare themselves. About 7:15, 7:20, we're basically saying prayer and we're loading up in the car. I'm dropping them off at school at 7:30. Breakfast starts at 7:30, and they like to eat breakfast at school.
And does that include Naziah? You would drop her off at J.E. Clark?
All together, yes.
Ms. Harris, how did you know Mr. Butts back in January of 2024?
He's the father of my daughter's children.
And is that daughter Shannon Harris?
Yes,
Okay. How many kids do they have together?
5.
And would he come around your house on Bedford in January or the months leading up to January?
Whenever he did come, he would always pull up in a white truck, and Shannon would go out to the car, and they would sit and talk or whatever, but he would very rarely come in my house.
And during that time when he would come around and sit in his car, was there any times that he would interact with Naziah that you saw?
Not that I remember, no.
Okay. Wearing on January 9th, 2024.
Yes, she was wearing a pair of light powdered blue jeans with a light powdered blue jacket that had the black little fur around the collar. It was like a 2-piece set.
Okay. And did she have a sweater on or a shirt on or something?
She had a shirt. She wore a shirt underneath it.
And you remember Did she have any other clothes with her on the 9th when you dropped her off?
She had her little blue sweatshirt with the little hoodie. She had that with her.
And do you know how or when she got that hoodie?
I bought that hoodie for her. I guess it was in the fall sometime when I bought it. When I first, I mean, it wasn't nothing new. It was just one of her old hoodie jackets she used when she go to gym.
Okay. And in terms of, if you know, the condition of that hoodie on the 9th, was it torn, ripped, damaged in any way?
No,
Okay.
it was fairly, really, like, kind of like still new, because she took pretty good care of her things.
Oh.
When school is over, the bell rings at 2:40. Nazaya was due to come home. And normally when the bell rings, 2:40, 2:45, she's getting on the bus.
And was that's what she normally did on other days?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes, I'm sorry,
And
yes.
what time would she normally arrive back at home?
The Nazaya would be walking in through the door maybe 3:05, no later than that.
And on January 9th, did she walk in at 3:05?
No, she did not.
And were you home when she didn't come home?
I was there for a little while, but I left out to run some errands. But no, when I got to the house, she was not there.
And at that time, did you have a conversation with someone else about her not coming home, Nazaya not coming home?
Yeah, when I picked my children up from the after-school program, I went in and my daughter said,
Objection to what her daughter said, it's going to hearsay.
I'll rephrase the question.
Okay, so stay.
Just talking about what you saw and heard, and not asking for what anybody said, but did you talk to Shannon, your daughter?
yes,
about
Shannon said she was not there.
Oh. When you got home that day on the 9th, was Nazaya there?
No.
And did you eventually make a police report about her missing?
Yes, I did. Yes,
And
I
when
did.
did you do that?
That morning, when I got to school, I went up and dropped the kids off to school. I talked with the dean and the principal, and I told them that I was on my way to the police station, and they told me that they would call the police, and the DPS police came there.
And you said DPS, is that Detroit Public Schools?
Yeah,
And did you talk to an officer at that time at the school?
yes, I did.
And was that at J.E. Clark physically at that location?
Yes,
And you said that morning, are you talking about the morning of the 10th?
yes. Mm-hmm.
Was Nazaya active on social media, if you know?
Well, as far as I know, she was. I mean, there were times that she was sneaking, go on it, But yeah, she was.
Okay. And did you keep track of her social media pages like TikTok or Facebook or anything like that?
I tried. A lot of times, I would take her phone and stuff from her, so, to keep her from being on there,
And after the 9th, did you ever see any posts made by Nazaya?
I didn't see any posts. Most of the time, if there was a post or something, or she posts, my daughter or someone would call me and tell me.
Oh. Nazaya have any nicknames that people called her?
Where her family called her Tuda, but I've always called her Glamorous. I've been calling her that ever since she was born.
Is it Glamour?
Glamorous.
Oh.
And what type of student was Nazaya?
Nazaya was a very good student. Very manageable, very outgoing. She got good grades. Her attendance was good. The teachers had no problem with her. They really liked Nazaya. Nazaya got along with just about anybody. She was very likable. Go check,
Okay.
But like I said, a lot of times, I took Nazaya's tablet, from her at one point, so there was really nothing that I knew of that she was on unless she got somebody's cell phone or something,
Okay. So you did mention that she had a tablet. How many devices did she have that allowed her to connect to social media?
She only had that one tablet that I had bought her.
Okay.
And like I said, I took that tablet and put that tablet up.
And you said that you noticed that she did not come home at her normal time.
Correct.
All right. You did not call the police then, correct?
No. Driving around looking for her. My daughter reached out to some of her classmates. I did nothing. And that morning, I got up, and like I said, I went straight to the school, and from there I was on my way to police station to make the report, and they called the police from there. DPS police came to the school.
So the first report she made to the police was the next morning.
Yes.
Do you know approximately what time?
School starts at 7:30, so I got there at 7:30. They got there about, I don't know, maybe 8.
So you didn't go to the precinct, you went to the school, and the school called the police?
Yes, they called the police because I was getting ready to leave, and the dean said, no, stay here. She said, and we'll call the police.
Okay. But you are familiar with Mr. Butts, correct?
I know Mr. Butts.
Okay. And he dated your daughter, Shannon, correct?
Correct.
They did have 5 children, correct?
Correct.
And did all the children stay with you and Shannon?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think you did indicate that Mr. Butts would come over and I think you said he would rarely come in, correct?
Mm-hmm.
But he would come in on occasion, correct?
Not really on occasions, because most of the time when he came in, he would pull up in my driveway, and my daughter would go out to the truck, and a lot of times the kids would go out to the truck. So it was very rare if he ever came in my house.
Okay. And you indicated that you were close, you were close with Neziah?
Yes.
Can you think of any reason that Neziah would not share information with you?
No. Neziah would come to me and talk to me all the time.
Okay.
If something was bothering her, or if she had a bad day in school, she'll come to me and we'll sit and talk about it. I always kept the door open for communication with Neziah and with really all of my children. So she always felt free, to come to me and sit down and talk to me about whatever.
So if something was frustrating Neziah, she would come with you?
She would, that I know of, yes.
All right, if something was scaring Neziah, she would come to you?
If something was bothering her or she was frustrated about something, she'll come to me and say, hey, Nana, can I talk to you?
If there was any medical condition, she would come to you regarding that?
I believe she would, yes.
And you take her to the hospital, take her to the doctor?
Yes.
Okay.
He said that the kids would go out to the car.
Yes.
Which kids would go out to the car?
His kids.
Would Neziah ever go with his kids out to the car?
If Shannon was out there, she would.
Oh. And did Neziah also have access to a cell phone?
The only cell phone she had access to was one of the cell phones when my oldest daughter came to visit me. She gave to Neziah, but she could only use it by Wi-Fi.
You said your oldest daughter, is that Neziah's biological mother?
Yes.
Okay. And through, what's your oldest daughter's name?
Kenyatta Harris.
Through Kenyatta Harris, Neziah got access to a phone?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes. And when I got to the house and I found out that she wasn't there, I got back in the car and I went back up to the school. And by that time, nobody was there. Nobody was at the school. So now, I'm kind of like, I'm frustrated. Now I'm going like, because whenever she wants to stay after school or do something, she would always call me. Well, hey, Nana, can I stay after school? Or she would call one of her TTs, hey, TT, can I stay after school? So that wasn't like her, so I'm really frustrated now. So now I go back to the house and I'm talking to my daughter, Shannon.
And I want to stop you right there because I don't want to go into what anybody else said.
Okay.
But you went back to the school, nobody was at the school, you went back to the house, Nazia's still not there, correct?
Correct.
Did you go back out looking for her after that?
I did.
Okay. Where did you go looking?
I was driving around in the neighborhood, everywhere. I'm just looking, just like hoping I'll see her, you know?
You know Nazia to go to Mr. Butts' place of work to assist him with anything there?
Yes, there was a couple of times that she went with his daughter and they went up there to go clean up at his shop.
And how would they get there, if you remember?
He would come and pick them up.
And was that in that white truck that you talked about earlier?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And did you ever, on the 9th, did you ever try and go to Mr. Butts' place of work to look for Nazia?
On the 9th, no.
Mother, she was allegedly pregnant by this person that she looked at or should have been looking at as an uncle, but they were having sex. So much happened. The family, after the preliminary hearing, the family was on YouTube. They had a live and they were talking about it, and it's just so heartbreaking that her aunt failed her. Just so many people, just so many disappointments. Heartbreaking story. Let's get into it.